All right, let's talk about commercial solar. But look, we're going to skip the usual conversation about technology or green benefits. You already know that stuff. What we really need to focus on is what a solar project is for a property owner like you, a major capital project. And with any capital project, the most important question isn't about the panels. It's about who is actually in control.
You know that feeling, don't you? If you've managed a property portfolio for any length of time, you've definitely felt that moment. The one where a project just starts to feel like it's getting away from you. So let's just be direct. When does that loss of control actually happen?
That's it, right there. The moment that first check clears, you hand over all your leverage. Suddenly, control of the schedule, the budget, the quality, it all shifts to the contractor. You know, the one whose financial interests are now fundamentally misaligned with yours. And if that feeling is painfully familiar, it's because this is a structural problem.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with that exact moment control is lost. Then we'll look at why projects go over budget. I'll introduce a fundamentally different model, show you exactly how it works. We'll even tackle the cost question head-on, and we'll finish with the promise of certainty. Let's dive in.
Now, the core issue here isn't necessarily about bad contractors, it's about a bad model. The traditional way of doing things has this built-in flaw that puts you, the owner, at a huge disadvantage right from day one.
And that flaw? It leads directly to the most common and most costly pain point there is: budget overruns. These aren't just accidents. They're the predictable outcome of a system with completely misaligned financial incentives.
And the scale of this problem is, well, it's staggering. Research from McKinsey found that large construction projects can run up to, get this, 80% over budget. That's not a rounding error, that's a systemic failure. And commercial solar projects are absolutely no different.
This right here, this gets to the very heart of the problem. Your contractor designs the project, builds it, and then reports their own progress. It's basically like they're grading their own homework. This huge structural conflict of interest is what drives the change orders, the scope inflation, and all those missed deadlines.
So the bottom line is, if you want a different outcome, you need a different structure. Take a look. On the left, that's the old way. The contractor controls everything and you, the owner, bear all the risk. Now on the right, the oversight is independent, payments are only released after work is verified, and the owner is protected. It's just a fundamentally different risk profile.
This brings us to a fundamentally different model, one that was designed from the ground up to fix this structural flaw. And the core principle is really simple. You have to separate oversight from execution.
It's called governed delivery. And really, the name says it all. It's a process that works on your side, the owner's side, to govern the capital, the execution, and the verification from the very first feasibility study all the way through to long-term performance. It puts you back in control.
Okay, so how does this actually work in practice? Well, it's all about restoring the two things you lose the moment you write that deposit check: transparency and control.
The whole model is built on three core pillars. First, a single fixed lump sum price for the entire project. Second, escrow-style fund control. And third, real-time transparency into every dollar and every milestone.
Think about that first one. One project, one price. This isn't just about making things simple. This structurally eliminates the main tool contractors use to recover their margin after they've won a bid: those disputed change orders and that endless scope creep. If it's not in the original scope, it doesn't affect the price. Period.
Next, your capital is secured. So instead of paying a contractor based on their billing schedule, the project funds are held in an escrow-style account. Money is only released after an independent third party has verified that a specific milestone has been completed to standard. The power dynamic shifts completely back to you.
And this is how you maintain visibility. Through a platform called RenewaGuard, you get a real-time view into everything. You can see how funds are being deployed, track the status of every milestone, and review all the documentation. The black box risk of a typical construction project is just gone. You always know exactly where your capital is.
Now, I know the question that every financially savvy owner is asking right now, and it's the right question to ask, so let's address it head on. Is this governed delivery model just another layer of fees, another consultant adding cost on top of the contractor's price? It's a fair question.
And the answer is no. The compensation for this is built directly into that single lump sum project price. just like a general contractor's margin is. You are not paying a separate advisory fee, you're getting independent oversight and capital protection as an integrated part of a market rate project price.
So, how can the total cost be lower? Because the savings are structural, not negotiated. A traditional project's final cost gets inflated by all the things we've talked about: change orders, paying for work that isn't complete, missing key incentive deadlines. A governed project is designed to eliminate that waste from the system itself. You save money by removing systemic inefficiency.
In all of this, it leads to the one thing that every property owner wants from a capital project, but so rarely gets: certainty.
The project is delivered on budget. The lump sum price is the final price, period. It's delivered on time because that independent milestone verification keeps the entire schedule honest and accountable. And finally, every available financial incentive is captured, and your capital is protected from the first day to the last. For one building or an entire portfolio, the outcome is predictable and repeatable.
Look, this isn't about hoping for a good outcome. It's about a structure that delivers a predictable one. If you're ready for certainty instead of risk, the next step is a no-obligation assessment to see what this model looks like for your property.